On today's episode of Fringe Parade, we've got UFO UAP rules of engagement, celebrities caught glitching in the Matrix because of their MK Ultra mind programming. Also, Dr. Stephen Greer has a picture of a UFO on his phone. There's this invention, whatever this crazy thing is. Also, a few more Mandela effects. Who doesn't like Mandela effects? Plus, did people look younger today at the same age they were when it was years ago? Did they used to look older back in the day? Let's examine all of this and more on today's episode. Here we go. Yes, I am Hat Dancing, and welcome to another episode of Fringe Parade, not to be confused with your overly friendly and kind of a creepy way youth pastor's channel, The Fringe Padre, where the eccentrically dressed man always makes sure to end every homily with a hoedown, because boy does he want to relate to the youth. No, this is Fringe Parade, where we look at strange things on the fringe elements of society, UFOs, big feats, conspiracies, and the like. And today we're going to start out with our first video of the spooky, scary skeleton variety, strange invention from the past. Let's check it out.
I want you to look at this diagram. It's from a patent application and try to figure out what the invention was. Look at it closely because there's clearly a lot going on here. This is a patent from 1927 for a fake talking skeleton for police to use in interrogations to try to scare criminals into confessing. The criminal would come into a totally dark interrogation room. A curtain would rise up, revealing the scary skeleton. It would have red light bulbs in its eyes and a camera somewhere in its skull to record the confession. Then the detective would talk into a microphone and his evil booming voice would come out, and the terror of this apparition demanding they confess their crimes would cause them to tell the truth. The inventor was a woman named Helen Adelaide Shelby. Alice Obscura looked her up. She was a real estate agent, and this is her only patent. She had the one great idea. And in case it wasn't clear, the premise is entirely that the criminals would believe that the police had the power to summon a ghost skeleton to interrogate them on their behalf. What I like most about this is that by going through the lengthy and expensive patent application process, it proves that she didn't just have the idea. She was so worried that somebody else was going to come up with this and get it to market first that she had to lock it down.
Now I know right off the bat that just seems like a bonkers, bananas crazy idea, but you have to remember the time period. It was the 1920s, and seances and communicating with the dead was all the rage. You had big celebrities like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini that were big proponents of spiritualism. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, was also in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn with guys like Aleister Crowley. So you can understand that perhaps using a method where the dead is trying to scare you out of a confession, it might have actually worked. I know, on a personal note, that anytime I see Billy Bob Broccoli and his face, I do kind of feel strangely compelled to tell him all of my horrible misdeeds. Because mostly I'm worried that if he hears it from Mitzi Mozzarella and not from me, there will be hell to pay. That's probably not. That's just crazy. That's just silly, right? Anyway, let's take a look at another video.
This is the prison of the future where criminals would serve their entire sentence in less than 2 minutes. It's called Cognify, and it's meant to revolutionize the criminal justice system by using a device to synthetically implant AI-generated memories into the prisoner's brain. You see, the current prison system has a major problem. Many studies have shown that chucking a criminal into a cell does not reduce the likelihood of that person reoffending. So realistically, the only way that we're currently reducing crime is by keeping these people off the streets. Problem is, taxpayers are paying up to $3 million for just one prisoner's life sentence. That's why scientist Hashim Al-Ghaili came up with Cognify, because one day prisoners could choose to fast-track their rehabilitation. Firstly, the implant would target specific parts of the brain responsible for reasoning, memory, and logical thinking. The intensity and type of memories can then be adjusted depending on the crime. For example, violent offenders could relive their crime from their victim's perspective, feeling all of the pain, suffering, and trauma as if it was real and it was done to them. They could also experience certain memories designed to trigger empathy, remorse, and regret, which is a crucial part of rehabilitation. Inside the criminal's mind, time would also pass differently. 60 seconds in the real world could feel like 20 years for them. Hashim argues that by replacing long prison sentences with brief, intensive rehabilitation with Cognify, not only would you avoid the high cost of housing millions of inmates, but by actually rehabilitating offenders effectively, they could be reintegrated back into society sooner and contribute to the workforce. So the question is, do you think that this is a good idea, or is the current prison system better?
Okay, well, that would be a terrifying thing to ever exist and fall into the wrong hands. But fortunately for us, I don't think we're going to have to worry about it falling into anyone's hands ever. See, creator Hashim Al-Ghaili, seen here as the protagonist in a Netflix movie before it's revealed in a not too shocking and easily predictable plot twist that he's actually the bad guy, he kind of came up with this as a, for lack of a better phrase, scientific idea. There's no prototype, there's no patent. It's literally just him saying, like, what if, like, you could just, like, make somebody's memories, make them believe that they were, like, in jail, but they weren't really in jail, and, like, 5 minutes would be, like, 10 years, you know? Wouldn't that be crazy? And, like, that's it. That is the extent of the invention and in its progress. So I don't think we have come close to the technology that would be needed to do this. But that is not to say that all of this is founded in complete fabricated science fiction. It's actually based on a couple different studies, one in which the memory of mice was manipulated in such a way that tragic events that happened to mice were able to be recalled fondly, and another where they took the memory of a single marine snail and implanted it into a different marine snail. I probably don't need to tell you about that. It was the basis of the wildly successful romance thriller Eternal Sunshine of the Saltless Mind.
You have a photo of the
ET? Yes. ET was about 2 feet from me, 3 feet from me. Sort of very triangular head, about 5.5 feet tall. Popped in, we saw this red light come right into our circle, and then a photograph taken, and this ET is standing right beside this man, and he had permanent hearing loss since he was a teenager, and he was fixed that night by this ET. That's a true story.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was there. So we're dealing with civilizations that are, 100,000 to a few million years ahead of us. If people had known the truth about this 50, 60 years ago, we wouldn't be, like in kindergarten still. So that blackened area is sort of a bubble in space-time, and you can see the people on either side of him. We just turned up the contrast. Very large head, sort of triangular shape, has a sort of a cloth tunic that's lit up. He's holding some object, and this man right next to him to the left of how you're looking had his hearing healed. So I mean, you say, oh, this is a wacky story. It's a beautiful story. It just happened a couple years ago.
Bullshit. Oh, bullshit. Pardon me. Sorry, I had something caught in my throat there. That was Dr. Stephen Greer, and he runs the Disclosure Project. And he rose to notoriety in 2001 when he organized a pretty impressive press conference full of surprisingly reputable characters. There's ex-military, ex-Lockheed Martin Skunk Works people, air traffic controllers, all reporting their own stories about their interactions or their experience with seeing UFOs. And at the time, you really thought it was a legitimate push to disclose any evidence for UFOs. I think at the time it was. But now it's kind of turned into something else. You can go to his website, where he runs the Disclosure Project and Intelligence Archive, to see all of the evidence he's gathered over the years. But you're going to need to sign up. You need an email and you need to log in. So that's my first little red flag. He says it's free to sign up, which I'm sure it is. But if you have a list of hundreds of thousands of emails, that's money just by itself. You can sell those to people. And I don't like giving any information, even if it's just my email, to sign up for seeing evidence of UFOs that he wants to be made publicly available to everybody. You dig a little deeper, and now he has something called the CE5 initiative, which he says is a way for you to learn how to telepathically contact extraterrestrial beings. And if you attend one of his paid public speaking engagements, he'll tell you all about how to do that. But maybe you're not in town. Maybe you live somewhere that he's not going to visit. That's not a problem. He has the CE5 Initiative app that you can download for $9.95, and he will coach you through in a series of videos how to telepathically communicate with extraterrestrials. Now, I'm sure if you went on the Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive and signed up to look at the evidence he'd gathered, you'd get great pictures that are just as good as the one that he showed on that podcast that was on his phone. Pictures that probably look something like this. Oh, that's an alien. It's crazy. Oh man. And how about that picture that he did show? Let me just real quick have an idea. If I just take my phone here, oh, you know what? I'm gonna need some. Had like a white collar on. I'm gonna get some toilet paper and crumple that up. Take a picture there. Hey, oh, it's an alien. Oh my God, that's so good. He supposedly runs these groups where people can join and contact aliens, and they materialize in front of them. And this is the best picture he has. I don't personally buy it. Maybe you have different experience with Stephen Greer. Maybe you signed up. Maybe you saw him in person. Hey, let me know. Maybe he's great. But first glance, it seems kind of like a soft cult. He's the one leader that knows how to communicate with extra-dimensional and extraterrestrial people, and for a price, he'll tell you how to do it, all in your brain, of course. It's nothing that you can actually document. You just have to be, oh yeah, I feel the alien talking to me. Hey, get out of here. What is another video that we can look at, please?
Quick question, what color is this? Chartreuse, simple question, what color is it? Is it the green issue or the pink issue? I can distinctly remember it was the pink issue, but apparently it's the green issue. Okay, maybe I'm tripping. Okay, born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen. I remember a red bandana, not a hat. Now, maybe I'm misremembering, maybe I'm crossing things up, but I distinctly remember a red bandana and not a hat. Okay, maybe I'm tripping. Risky Business Tom Cruise. He never wore sunglasses in that dance scene. Everybody remembers the dance scene. He had the socks, he had the comb, he had the white button up, and he had the glasses. I remember Halloween costumes with the sunglasses and the shirt and the socks. You're telling me I didn't remember that? Okay. Skechers doesn't have a T in it. Now, are you serious? Like, you thinking that I just misremembered Skechers? It doesn't even look right. Tell me if I'm tripping. It doesn't even look right. Smokey the Bear. It's Smokey Bear. Now you're messing with my childhood. So you're telling me that Smokey the Bear is Smokey Bear? I'm not jacking it. I don't believe it. Let me know if I'm tripping. Do you guys remember any of these? It's us.
All right, let's just break those down real fast, and we'll see if you and I are from the same reality. I remember Chartreuse being green. I remember the Born in the USA album having a bandana in his pocket. But I was never like really big into Bruce Springsteen, and I never like studied that photo, so he could have had a hat and I just thought it was a bandana. If I just see the color red near someone's back pocket, I'm gonna presume it's a bandana. So that one doesn't really mess with me. The Risky Business. I remember him wearing glasses pretty distinctly, sliding out with the glasses and a white shirt. He didn't even mention that, but I remember he had a white shirt and glasses. In this world line, I guess he has a pink shirt. So that one kind of got me. Skechers. If I was to have Google searched it before I saw that video, I would have put in a T. But I am a terrible speller, especially when it comes to companies slightly altering words for marketing purposes. You could tell me Taco Bell was spelled with a K and 3 L's, and I would probably halfway believe you. So that one doesn't really shake me too much. And Smokey Bear, he's probably officially called Smokey Bear, but then average people are going to be like, oh, Smokey the Bear, because he's a bear. He's the Smokey the Bear. But yeah, if he was officially Smokey Bear, like, okay, fine. I don't know what a lot of things are officially called, so that one doesn't really get me too much. But that risky business one, that one got me. Hey, hi. If you're still watching the video, you made it this far. It would be really neat if you could just subscribe real quick, just real quick, right now. I would really appreciate it. I could keep making more videos like this. If you like content like this, you could just subscribe, and then we could keep watching these videos together. It'd be really nice. Hit the button. You're just listening. Hit the button. It'd be really great. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Subscribe when you get a chance. Thanks so much. Right now is your chance, by the way. Thank you.
And now it's time for our segment, More Viewers, Less Brain Cells, where we take a look at a monetized clip that has so many more views than anything I've ever done. And we laugh at it because it's so incredibly stupid.
Where are the images from Christopher Columbus? Where are the 1492 ships? And we talked about this in multiple other videos. Where are they? They have a picture of the Santa Maria, which I thought was really interesting. There's the ship that supposedly came over, right? What's interesting is if you look at all the emblems on the ship, but here's the part that doesn't make any sense, right? And this is why I like to connect the dots. You have this ship, right? But look at those high-rise buildings in the background. Those are pretty big. So people supposedly coming over on these ships were also building high-rises in the back of the city.
Oh, wow. Oh my God, come on. If this guy can get tens of thousands of views, surely we can too. The first thing I did is I checked his hashtags for things like hashtag comedy, hashtag irony, hashtag satire. But no, if to be taken at face value, this guy believes that Columbus brought with him cameras on his expedition of the New World. And what does he say about high rises in the background? And he doesn't say in the background the second time. He says, oh, they built high rises in the backs of the city, implying that there is a forward movement where all cities are going in a certain direction, and there's a front and a back of the city. In the back of the city, what does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's crazy. Wait, let me check my notes here real quick. Okay, yeah. Turns out cameras were actually the second thing ever invented right after the wheel. We have a photo of the first camera ever being invented. There it is. That's real. That's clearly, but it does explain how they got those breathtaking photos of major historical events like the first Thanksgiving, or the building of the pyramids, or Washington crossing the Delaware here. Yes, cameras have been with us this entire time. How stupid of us to think otherwise. This guy. Somebody show me a video that we can actually talk about and that won't make me so frustrated.
MK Ultra glitches in the industry.
Okay. You went viral during the finals, in which you did not move.
Exclusive items and so much more, all at the Rec Room in downtown Toronto. Open through Sunday.
that is pretty crazy stuff. But to be fair, MK Ultra really did exist. It's pretty well documented mind control program. Now, did they really shut MK Ultra down when they said they did decades ago? Or do you think maybe these morally bankrupt and powerful people reorganized and tried to find a new way to run mind control tests on people? Because I'm just human nature, just looking around, and I'm thinking that's probably what they would do. And the word on the street in the conspiracy realms is that it is now called monarch programming or monarch conditioning and not MK Ultra anymore. And the goal of it is to give you dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder, and perhaps freezing or locking up like these celebrities did is a side effect of the brainwashing or the programming. Speculative, who knows? Interesting to think about. Let's see another video, shall we?
18. Carl Sagan looked like a teenager, but it doesn't take long in an old high school yearbook to find teenagers who look surprisingly old. These people are all in their 20s, but so are these people. This is Elizabeth Taylor when she was just 17, and here are some high school students from the 70s. Did people used to look older? Brandon McCarthy asked on Twitter, and evidence poured in. People shared photos of their parents in their early 20s, their dad at 21, their mom at 18 or 19, their dad at 45. One user shared their husband at 27 and what his father looked like at 23. And there's pretty much an entire subculture around how old footballers looked decades ago. 24, 31, 33, 29, 27. It's not uncommon to think that there's something more grown-up about the way people used to be, to look back and think that people seemed older at a younger age than they do now. Let's call it retrospective aging. It doesn't happen to everyone. People do not and never have aged similarly, and there's even the opposite observation that kids these days grow up too fast. But it's a popular question and subject of numerous memes. So, is it real? Or is it an illusion?
Now, interestingly enough, that does all appear to check out. I myself have been told occasionally that I do look a little bit younger than I actually am. And when asked my secret, I always tell them the same true answer. It's a diet that's just rich in alcohol, cigarettes, and high levels of stress. But in my research, it does seem to indicate that on a much larger scale, millennials do look younger than people generations past of the same age, mostly because of sunscreen and less labor-intensive jobs. A lot of us are working food industry jobs or service jobs or office jobs, whereas our parents and their parents had a lot more factory jobs, which are now outsourced or mechanized with modern technology. So, I don't know, what have you noticed? Do you think people look younger now, or did they look younger back in the day, or is it no real difference? And if so, why? What do you think? It's very speculative, so let's hear your thoughts. And let's look at one more video here.
Over active war zones right now, there is such an increased frequency of what they call UAP or UFO that they have these rules whether or not they fire upon them. Because we fucking do. But why we do is not what people think. So when you have an active war zone, specifically the area of the world that I'm talking about in the Middle East, anything within 27 to 30 miles of ground troops gets fired upon. That's it. But I was exposed to documents that tell me a little bit more precisely how you choose what to fire upon. And what you fire upon is anything that appears that it could have a payload.
Really?
Yeah, because it would be a threat. What do they do with like the cubes surrounded by these spheres? Fucking nothing, because they don't look like they have a payload, so they disregard. They're not part of the mission. Okay, these things are in our airspace. We could have collisions. We see other countries firing on these. Russia, Syria. We know it's not their assets. So the question is, whose are these?
Now, if you don't believe in UFOs at this point, I don't know what to tell you. You're out to lunch. These things clearly exist. It's no longer speculation. They're out there. Just ask Lieutenant Graves, F-18 pilot in the Navy. How often would you encounter something like this?
Almost on a daily basis.
A near daily basis. That's a lot of the time. So it makes sense to create policies for what you do when you happen across one of these things, especially in a hostile war zone atmosphere. And I like what we came up with, which is do not fire upon them unless they look like they're carrying a payload. And like he said in that video, it looks like Russia and Syria, other countries are firing upon them stuff, and it kind of clears up why we have better technology. Maybe, I don't know, speculative, could be, but if they can break the laws of physics and morph in and out of our dimension, maybe, yeah, don't shoot at them, other countries. What are you thinking? So, I don't know, what do you think? Hey, that about does it for today's episode. That pen was supposed to stay on the table, but I suppose it doesn't much matter now. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, especially at these early stages of the channel, where most of these videos are getting less than 1,000 views. It's incredibly appreciated. So again, just a little healthy reminder, if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you did. I'm hoping to make a video a week. So that bell that's what it's there for. I'll let you know when I upload a new video. Should be about one a week, and I apologize. I am aware of these shadows. If you've been noticing them all through the video, I also have been noticing them. And I just need to get better lighting stuff. I'm a poorman, and this channel's not monetized, so enjoy these shadows until I can actually buy like a key light box or something. Again, thank you for watching. To sign off message. Take it easy. Drink more Ovaltine.